do have a timeout. Decide not to use it. Curry, way downtown. Bang! Bang! Oh, what a shot from Curry!
What's up, everybody? My name is Ethan. This is Courtside TV. If you're new, don't forget to subscribe. And before we get into it today, I do want to point you guys over to a poll that I have in my description. I just have a really quick poll. It's 10 questions and simple. Who do you think is better? It's going to say 2 players. Tell me who you think is better. I'd like to use some of the responses to that in an upcoming video. So, as soon as I get enough responses, I'm going to start to make that video. I'd like to get a pretty large sample size out there. So if you're seeing this, please go take that poll and you will see your responses featured in a video hopefully this weekend. If not, I'll wait on it and until I get enough responses. But yeah, go take that poll just really quick. Takes like 1 minute. Just tell me who you think is better between the 2 players, and we'll be using some of that data for video in the near future. And with that out of the way, let's get into today's topic, and that is the Memphis Grizzlies, who have been incredibly scrappy again this year, and it feels like people are kind of forgetting about them and underrating this team yet again. And I'll admit that I was one of those people. I predicted them to miss the playoffs prior to this season. Didn't even have them in a play-in game, I don't believe. Maybe they were the 10 seed. I really don't even remember. But I had them kind of on the outside looking in, just because, like, as we all know, the West is super tough. There's a lot of really, really good teams out there, and especially after Ja Morant went down with that injury, it was like, oh man, the Grizzlies are not gonna, they're gonna struggle to win some games here, especially already having Jaren Jackson out and then Morant missing time. It was going to be like, oh crap, are they even going to win a game for the next 2 or 3 weeks? Because those are probably their 2 best players they're going to be missing, right? And they were able to seriously go on a nice, put together a nice, I don't know if it was a win streak, maybe they had one interrupted, but they won a lot of those games when those guys are out, and now Ja is back, and they're winning games with him back in the lineup. They had an incredibly, grinded out sort of win yesterday against the Phoenix Suns on Martin Luther King Day. They were able to, pull that one out, and it was late. They were clutch. They made some really, really, really great plays late in the game. Ja Morant had an awesome layup and a nice pass, and Grayson Allen hit a dagger 3-pointer. So this team is proving again why they were in that, they were on that playoff bubble last season. They were right there in that play-in game against the Portland Trailblazers, and they were missing Jaren Jackson, and who knows, things might have gone differently if he was there and healthy. But they were a really, really good team. They were looking poised to grab that 8 seed until the Blazers made their bubble run. So the Grizzlies are clearly a very good team, especially after they were picked to finish like last season, right? Like, people had them winning like 12 games for last year, and they ended up being about 500. And it's clear that this team has been doubted now for the past 2 seasons, and they're pretty much proving everybody wrong to this point. And I feel like I'm ready to kind of flip my opinion on Memphis. So the Grizzlies now just checked it. They're on a 5-game winning streak. While Ja Morant was injured, I believe they went 4-4. If I'm reading that correctly, he went down in their 3rd game against the Nets, and they were 4-4 after that onwards. So now he's come back. They've won their 2 games since he's back, and it's now a 5-game winning streak. So they have clearly proved everyone wrong. If you don't watch my TikToks, because I do TikToks about my game predictions. I do them every single day about who I think is going to win each game. I think I picked the Grizzlies to lose every single one of those. I might have picked them to win once or twice through this whole time that Morant has been out, but I pretty much picked against them every single night. And clearly that was a mistake on my part, because I just kind of assumed that without their 2 best players, they're just not going to be very good. But they're deep, man. They've got all sorts of guys up and down the roster who can play. They can just like plug and play rookies. All of a sudden, Xavier Tillman is in the lineup, and he's being productive and doing all that good stuff there. Like, Kyle Anderson can still play. You've got Grayson Allen who can hit shots. You've got, a couple veterans out there. Gorgui Dieng has been playing well. So it's kind of like, it's been this really interesting mesh of this team, again, where they just kind of out-hustle people. They out-grind. They play good defense. And they have their great coaching. Not a lot of people know about Taylor Jenkins, but he has been quietly one of the best coaches in the league since he's taken over there for Memphis. I believe this is his 2nd year. I think last season was his 1st season with them. He might have been there the year before. I don't necessarily remember, but for at least this year and last, he's quietly been one of the better coaches in the league. definitely maximizing this roster and what he has, and it's clear that these guys are all completely bought in, and they're ready to make this next jump and make a push to try to get into the postseason after narrowly missing out last year. Morant has taken another leap in his second season. Like I said, he hasn't played that much. I believe it's only 5 games that he's played because he missed that time with that ankle injury, but he's back now, and he's looked really, really good in all the games that he's played. And he was able to really attack that rehab and come back quickly from that injury. He missed like less than a month, which is crazy because when he got hurt, it was like a 3 to 5 weeks, and then he'll be reevaluated. But he came back, I think, inside of 3 weeks. So he's clearly ready to prove something and ready to attack this season. And this Grizzlies team is just, there's never an easy win against them because they're always gonna grind, and they're always gonna play tough, and they're just they want it more than you most nights, which is the biggest compliment you can give to a young team like this that plays in a small market that the national media doesn't have their attention on all the time. The Grizzlies play basketball the right way, and they're getting results with it. And I just took a look at their upcoming schedule. They've got a chance to pile on some wins here. The Blazers are a good team, but they're now missing CJ McCollum and Yusuf Nurkic, so it's pretty much the Damian Lillard show. That's certainly a much more winnable two games there, so certainly 2 more winnable games for the Grizzlies. They play the Kings twice, against the Bulls, and at San Antonio twice. All those teams are okay, but certainly very, very winnable for the Grizzlies. So they can really extend this winning streak here. Not expecting them to win every single game here because it's just tough to win every single night, but they have a good chance here to start piling up some wins. And if they do that, they could find themselves pretty quickly locked into a playoff spot in the Western Conference. Now, there's a lot of season left to go, but if you can start piling up some wins early here, especially given how tough the Western Conference is, that could go a long way for the Grizzlies, and they've got an opportunity ahead of them to really extend this winning streak. So, do they have enough to make the playoffs? That's always the question, right? Because we know how tough the Western Conference is, but honestly, it feels like there's been a couple of teams in the West who have maybe fallen off in the past couple of weeks, specifically the Blazers with the injuries that they're now going to have to deal with. CJ McCollum's going to miss about a month, so that's another opening for the Grizzlies to kind of leapfrog them potentially, and they're also missing Nurkic, and so that's just going to be kind of tough for the Blazers. That might leave a little bit of an opening there. The San Antonio Spurs right now are in a playoff position. I don't expect them to be there at season's end. I think they're going to be a team that falls off. Potentially the Phoenix Suns might be slipping a little bit. I still think they're probably a playoff team, but maybe there's an opening there. The Denver Nuggets don't have a great record. The Mavericks don't have a great record. The Pelicans are struggling. That's a big one, right, where the Pelicans might not be challenging for that play-in tournament. The Grizzlies could take over them there, just because things aren't fitting perfectly with New Orleans, and the Houston Rockets, now that the James Harden thing is done, and we know what their roster is going to be for the next, for the rest of the season. Getting Oladipo back is something, but is it a playoff roster? Are they better than Memphis right now? I'm not sure about that. I have a little bit of reservations, as well as the Timberwolves not looking as good as expected. And then on the other side, there are a couple of surprises, like the Thunder, and some people would consider the Warriors to be a surprise so far, and the Jazz looking as good as they have. But seriously, there's a couple of teams, specifically like the Rockets, Pelicans, and Blazers and Spurs, who a lot of people might have predicted to be better than the Grizzlies. I really don't think that they will be. So there's definitely a window of opportunity here for them to push into that play-in game and potentially get into a first-round playoff series and it's hard to say that they could pull an upset on a top seed, but who knows? Injuries happen, and crazier things have happened so far in the NBA, so we will just have to see. But yeah, Memphis, I think I'm buying stock in the Grizzlies right now just because they're just playing tough, and they have for the last year and a half, and nobody really talks about them as much as they probably should. So I think that the Grizzlies are a team that I'm definitely going to be watching a lot more of through the rest of the year, and I think they'll be exciting. And I probably, as of today, I think I'd put them in my playoff predictions. Alright, so I think that's about all I have for you tonight on the Memphis Grizzlies. Like I said at the top of the video, if you're new, don't forget to subscribe, leave a like, ring the bell if you want to, leave a comment letting me know what you think about the Grizzlies. How good are they? Are they going to make the playoffs? Are you surprised that they've been playing so well recently? And how good is Ja Morant, man, because he has been super, super awesome. He's one of my favorite players in the league to watch for sure. And also be sure to go take that survey, link in the description below. Send it to any other NBA friends you have. I'd like to get as many responses as possible. It's really, really quick. Just takes a minute. So if you would do that, thank you. That would, it would help me out a lot. So anyway, with all that said, I will see you guys in the next one.